So let us study what are OLAP operations or what is OLAP. OLAP is online analytical processing or OLAP systems are data warehouse systems that serve users or knowledge workers in the role of data analysis and decision making. So OLAP operations help us engineers to think analytically. Just imagine a Google Office and there are many people. So OLAP operations can be used. How many people belong to what category? What do they do? Which engineering degree they have, or what is their purpose? Can be used for an analytical purposes. Now, let's just get to the main point. OLAP operations are specifically for data warehouses, while OLTP, these are for databases. Online transaction processing. So in SQL, just understand SQL. So if you don't know SQL, SQL is a language which can be used to retrieve data from databases or modify data from databases. It is a query-based language. So in SQL, we give transactions. We perform transactions with the database to get our modification or adding new data. But in OLAP, there is no transactions. It is an information processing device. It processes information. It doesn't do transactions. See here, who are the users here? Who use data warehouses? It's not database professionals or database administrators. The managers or the top level knowledge workers. Knowledge workers use databases. It is only used for analysis. And the design. What are the designs? As you know, a database can be in one design only, that is rows and columns. There are two designs here. Subjective design and a star/snowflake design. I'll get to these in a bit earlier. Subjective design is just in a theory pattern, you could just say that. And now, while database can take in simple queries, data warehouse needs really complex queries. And there are things which are different from database clearly. See, complex queries, more data, it can store more data, and we also have that you can't add more information. See, a normal administrator can't add info to this databases or sorry data warehouses. So there is a special person who adds the information because it's raw data, which is actually the most valuable data in the market. It's a lot of raw data, and the data is static, historical, summarized, consolidated, and multidimensional. Remember these points. The data is static, the data is historical, the data is summarized, the data is consolidated. That means it's it's shortened. It's different to summary. It's you can see consolidated means removing the bad parts of the data, and it's multidimensional. That means the data can be in it's so vast that you have to measure it in multidimensional things. Now, why do we need a separate data warehouse? See, databases can only store less data and they can't be used for analysis. If you let's just say your phone does some things. Now let's say it predicts the best restaurant. How does it predict? It has to analyze the best restaurants near you, the reviews near you, everything, the distance, the reviews, the people, you're liking what cuisine you want to eat. This is all done by analysis. How do you train these models to understand? You need raw data. You can't always feed a system systematic data and get accurate results. You need raw data which can be used, which can be made into systematic data, then given. But you need the raw data first. And system understands raw data better than a systematic data. Systematic data can be easily be overfitted, while raw data cannot be. See, this is in a point of large scale. This is not in a short scale of time where you develop a machine learning model. So in huge scales, data warehouses are used for analysis. See, now the most important part of the data warehouse with the architecture. How does an architecture work? See, first things, we have the operational databases. These are the operational databases and plus external sources. We have our initial data and which will extract, clean, transform, load and refresh. Remember, extract, clean and transform. Also load, which is not specific, right, but this is important. We extract, clean and transform the data and load it into it. And now we use a metadata repository, a data warehouse system and a data matrix. So what is a metadata repository? Metadata report, a data matrix and the data warehouse. Why did we send to these things? Metadata repository is data for data. Why is it called data for data? It's actually quite simple. Metadata repository holds the index. It's like the index of the data warehouse. So it's like it's most important. So you need to locate what data is where you need it. And we have data matrix, which is also technically like an index, but it's more of a summary of what the data in a matrix format. That's it. And we have data warehouses which is connected, and which this data warehouse is the administrator type. And now this is an administrator data warehouse is connected to this, and now which we give these things when we get now from the data from these will be given to OLAP servers. There are three types of OLAP servers. We'll get into one. We give this to the OLAP servers, which can be then used for analysis. That's it. It's actually quite simple. We take the data, we extract and transform, we give it to the data warehouse, where it's divided into three types: the metadata repository, the data matrix, and the administrator to control all of these. And then we have the OLAP server, which is all pushed into the OLAP servers, which is the middle tier, and which is given us our final analysis, which can be used for the analysis. So this is the bottom tier or the lowest tier. This is the middle tier. This is the highest tier. So now, since the architecture is done, let's just specify some prerequisites for this too. See, you need to understand data warehouses perfectly to understand data warehouses perfectly to understand databases. Sorry, you have to understand databases perfectly to understand data warehouses, and you need to learn about the data warehouse backend tools and utilities. See, data warehouse backend tools and utilities are quite simple. They are data extraction, data cleaning, data transformation, load and refresh, which are these points, which are just simple.